The agenda item 11, demo request for 33 Milford Street, we'll move to the front so you gentlemen can present. Yep, yeah, that's good, yep.
So my name is Rod Rivera. I'm the designer and also the contractor for this property.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why we're here is because the building department had asked us to comply with this request. And we attempted to do the repairs in this particular building. Apparently, the owner prior to the owner now, they had pulled a permit to do some repairs. And they got a permit. They got to a point where they framed the roof, the shingles, and everything was weather tight to a certain point. But when I went over there, asked the helping the new owner, which is Raina, the structure was not great. We did a walkthrough and tried to come up with ideas and stuff, and then went back to the building department and asked them if we could do the repairs by just removing a portion. The building inspector was not too happy from the beginning with the prior owner. I guess they left so much trash, took too much advantage of downstairs, not paying on time and whatnot. So what we did.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but who was the building inspector? Because I know we've gone through a couple of them recently. So
Steve Johnson.
was it Steve Johnson? Or?
Steve, correct.
Okay, Steve Johnson. And your last name was what? Rod
Rivera.
Rivera. Okay.
So we decided, we went back and forth, so he says, give some plans, and after, like I said before, just went a couple of times into the building and tried to see if we could save it. It was very difficult to save the building under this condition. The first floor does not meet code because the framing, some sections are rotted, some sections are okay. So after going back and forth with Steve and discussing the issues that we saw, he had asked us just to demo the whole entire building. But because of financial hardship, I tried to beg him to at least give me a portion of it. He says, no, I know that it's not gonna be code, and I know as a designer, that's not code. So we came up with new plans. He agreed that since it looks good, but the building is too high. You still got to go through historical commission to get their approval. And we came up with certain designs with the owner and the building inspector. He's okay with the design. He just wanted to make sure that we go through the process, and the process is granted from the commission.
Okay.
We're not gonna extend the footprint. We're gonna stay within the same foundation footprint. So basically, whatever the structure that's there is, in terms of the footprint, it's gonna be the same. It's gonna remain the same, except we're gonna do another floor above and give it a different look in the front facade. It's gonna be different. And the original owner had a deck on the facing the building, had a deck towards the left. We're gonna remain that idea. So the design is gonna remain almost that was there now, except it's gonna be more modern, more design.
Okay.
So that will be that.
Okay. And what is the intent of adding an extra floor? What
So the square footage to the building is so small on the design purposes, it's too small.
Mhm.
So by adding another floor, what that does, it gives you one extra bedroom. And from what I understand, the health department, the septic tank that's there is approved for, I believe, was 4 bedrooms. I'm not clear. I think it was 4 bedrooms. So that's basically what we're trying to do. The inspector does not want us to use that so-called attic. He doesn't want us to use the whole space, as it has to be 50%. So basically, that's what we're going to do. So the first floor is going to have So. So the first floor is gonna have a living room as you come in, a kitchen, office space, and the dining room. The second floor is gonna have 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, well, I'm sorry, 2 bathrooms and a laundry. And then the third floor is gonna be like the master with a walk-in closet and deck.
Okay.
So basically, that's the reason why we're doing that extra floor.
Okay. I didn't have any, additional questions. Do you have any questions, Ed, or Donna, or Russ?
My perspective is if any of the existing front facade can be kept, which could say you've kept part of the historic building. You know, the inspector's within his right to say he doesn't really like it, but he's not within his right to say you've got to eliminate everything. So our perspective, I think some of us have discussed this, is to keep some piece of the original building, even if it's just the front first floor facade.
The problem with that is that through time, people were just repairing, fixing here and there, whatnot. So the front wall is literally hacked.
It's all piecemeal.
Yeah, so piecemeal. So I wanted to come up, so my original idea was have somebody mill the exact size 2x4s that are there,
Mhm.
which I can order.
Yeah.
And then try to make everything structurally sound. Then the second idea was whatever's there, we'll repair it. Then we'll beef it up to come up with 2x6 to meet today's energy code. But then the inspector kept saying, you know, but this is what happened before, this is what happened, and I agree with him. I mean, this, you just, everything was like patchwork and it's not right. So to make it right, unfortunately, tearing it down would be the idea. I mean, I would not want her to spend that kind of money because as of right now, she's been like 8 months into.
8 months.
Yeah, 8 months paying a mortgage on an empty building. And all this, you know, every time that we talk to her, it's like bad news. It's nothing really good news. So I
Do you have
would if I
a,
could, but I can't.
do you have a drawing of what the front of the building will look like?
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, I do. Unfortunately, I was trying to print it in color and my plotter did not cooperate with me. So it was kind of like in a rush.
Yeah.
I get. So
And who is the owner? When you're referring to she is, that is this?
it's Raina.
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 There you go.
So if you notice here, what we want to do is keep the same, like I said, the same footprint, just on the front page on A1. And by raising the building up, and can't go any further than, I believe, Steve said 30 feet, higher than 30 feet, so we're gonna stay. I'm actually about 2 or 3 inches more, so he said he'll try to work something out, but we have to do it correctly in terms of zoning. So what we want to do is keep the same width, the same depth, of the building, and just bringing it up and then do that A-frame this way. And then this little bump out here is only going to stick out probably like around 6 inches. So that's going to give the profile for this little section here. And that'll give it volume to the building, but not increasing it too much.
And this, I'm assuming this is the basement, so this will be below grade.
Correct.
Okay.
I think what's gonna show on the foundation is gonna be probably about 16 inches. That's what we have now.
Okay. And is, Miss Faria, is she gonna live in the building or is she renting it or?
So originally that was planned. I'm not clear 100%. I can't answer that question, but I'm not clear if she's gonna because of all the delays and everything that's happened, I believe she's gonna fix it. And then at that time, she'll make a decision, so.
Okay, but is it gonna be used for, because I think it is in the business zone, so will it be used as a business or will it be used as a single family
It's the rest of it.
residential? Okay, residential.
Single family or?
Single family.
Okay.
I don't think they will allow us to do, two family.
Multi?
Well, yeah, I don't think it'll work out with the plans.
Oh, just with the size of the building or the,
That and also all the hiccups,
oh, okay,
private, owners
right,
and there's been an eyesore in the street, so they're, by cleaning it up, I think that's what will allow us to clean it.
okay,
Steve's been working with us and also the commissioner,
okay.
so they've been working with us and,
Mike Antonellis,
excuse me.
Mike Antonellis, is he the commissioner? I think he might be the,
No, the new building.
oh, the new, oh yeah, 'cause we have a new building inspector. Okay,
So we, I kind of agree with them, and hopefully we can make this work.
okay,
And down the board.
So I missed it. And I missed it by just miscommunication, if you will, because I read that it was rescheduled. And then after that, Michael had sent an email saying that there was gonna be a different time for that property, historical was changed.
yeah,
So that's what kind of got us so confused, and then I did miss it, so now what we're gonna do is we have to go see Michael, get the letters and refile again, like,
Okay.
through the whole process, and then hopefully we can get into October's meeting.
okay, gotcha. Okay, well, I didn't have any other questions
I
here.
think our number one concern is that it fit into the historical nature of Upton. I have no objection to that.
The architecture,
Yeah, I think that's the architecture design part of it, I think it's gonna remain about the same. Unfortunately, I would like to sell this from the, it's very, very possible.
Yeah, we had heard that many people had done many things to that building.
It's terrible, they abuse the building. Us as a designer, we could see it beyond the mess, and I think the building would have worked out if it was done correct through time, but people just took advantage and never did it right.
What is the foundation made of?
Combination is, the left, if you're looking at the building, the left rear and part of the left side is made out of cinder blocks, which is in good condition. The rest of the house is, built stone and.
That's probably the original foundation.
It is, yes, it is.
so are you leaving the foundation or are you gonna rip that out and put a new foundation? Oh, you are?
Yeah. it is.
Can you guys send the design to our like group email so I can see them? Would that be
Yeah, I'm
possible?
on paper, Catherine.
I could send the color version so it could be more appreciated than this black and white, but I guess to answer the question, I could, yes, I can.
Catherine, do you wanna just see it for now? Like, if I put this up close to the camera?
Yeah, if
would
you want to
like
hold it
see
in front of the
now?
camera, that would
Okay.
be great.
Let's do that.
I'm trying to see it from real far away.
Can you see that?
Yeah, okay.
It's only like, what, 18 feet deep, wide? It's not very wide.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll be a lot of house there, but I get it.
This plan is 21 feet, and yes, you're right, it's about 18 feet.
You got what, 17 feet, 9 1/4 inches on this one at attic level. So 18 feet, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be tall because it's also gonna be on that hill too. Top of the hill.
Yeah, I thought the zoning had said that the maximum height was 25 feet. You're saying it's 30.
I believe I could confirm that, because I did reduce the height. It was higher, and I believe he said 30.
Would you take ceiling heights down a little bit or?
No, the whole roof, we brought it down, I believe it was 3 feet.
What's the pitch you're putting on that roof? You live in snow country.
Yeah, it's going to be, usually we do it around 10. 12, 10.
That looks like about a 5 pitch.
No, it's not, but it's the illusion,
Of the drawing.
yeah, after the drawing, but it's actually deeper. I could probably make notes towards that. But usually I keep it between 8 and 10, so it's not, it's definitely not 5. If I find a cross elevation, I'll tell that everybody cross elevation.
No, it's fine if you don't know. That's okay. Make a motion to accept and issue a letter to the building department that we approve a demolition of everything except the foundation.
Okay. I'll second that motion.
Motion so made.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Patrick? Patrick on?
Yeah, he's on mute. Patrick, you're on mute if you're trying
Aye.
to vote. Aye. Awesome, great, thank you. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. And we will write a letter to the building inspector, issuing a demo for the building except for the foundation.
In terms of the plans, do you guys still want us to present you in colors so so she can review?
Yes, it would be great if we could get them on the historical commission email. Because I'll see the
The historical commission's email.
Yes.
Okay, very good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Commission got.
You should, I think Mike had emailed you the historical commission email, I think. Yeah, I think you got it. Let me see, maybe I have it on the email here. It's not connected right now.
Just throw it to him, he could forward it to you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have his, Craig's, and,
Craig, yeah, I'm Craig. So if you email it to me, I can forward it to everybody. Yeah.
okay, so then I do have yours.
Okay, yes, that'll work.
All right, I appreciate it, thank you.
Great, thank you. Good luck.
Sorry for the week delay too.
Yeah,
Good night.
Good night.
okay. So moving on, the next item on the agenda is the Heritage Park wedding request. I had not heard back from Brittany. I had dropped off in her, I emailed her, and then I also dropped off a letter in her mailbox stating that it was approved, but I never heard back from her, so I'm assuming she hopefully had her wedding and everything went smoothly. I don't know, but
And that's still.
that's still up to her. Hopefully they're still together. Yep. And yeah, so that's that. So I will take that off the agenda going forward. The next update is the Heritage Park sign damage and repair by BVT. I saw that the sign, the Heritage Park sign is removed from the park, so I'm assuming that their BVT is working on it.
Yep.
But I haven't heard any updates or anything yet. So. Really wasn't a big, I don't think it was just a scratch really from, I think from the lawnmower or something. Scratch going through it. But it was
I heard there was a hole in it.
the hole in?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
which I was gonna email Derek Doffney and get an update or a picture from him, but I forgot to do that. I heard, but I haven't seen anything. I didn't think to talk to Dennis directly about it. Because if there's a hole in it, my concern was we didn't get the structural foam I thought we were getting, which is virtually indestructible. So I really want to know whether we got a piece of soft foam and BPT overstated the matter, or whether we got structural foam, it's just a scratch in it.
Oh,
But the little tiny scratch that Joan discovered a little over a month ago concerned me. It was tiny. It doesn't affect the sign, but the fact that it's scratched like that, the structural foam I'm familiar with that I used to buy is hard as a rock.
Hmm.
So I'm not sure what this stuff is.
oh.
So if I think of it, I'll email Derek and see if he'll give our commission an update on if he's got the sign, what he's doing with the sign and what the damage was, and send us a picture of it or something. He's gonna stop over there, but getting into a school is never easy. So-
Yeah. Okay, well,
So I'll make a note that I will email Derek.
okay. And as far as the next item, it's just creating the plaque for the sign. And I think Joan was looking into that, so she's obviously not here tonight, so we'll have to skip that agenda item, I
I
believe.
think she talked to some sign company that was recommended to her, and she had a simple sentence or something she was gonna put on it. And it was gonna be relatively cheap, but I haven't heard anything more definitive than that, so.
Okay. Good.
Will she be here next week? She'll be here next week.
I think
She
so,
doesn't.
but I know
wait till after
she,
Christmas, usually.
is it after Christmas she goes down to Florida?
It's after Christmas. If we have to go down there for one of our meetings, we can do that too.
That'd be nice, bring out the shorts. Um. the next item On the agenda is to discuss the meeting with the Mendon Historical Commission.
Can I drop you back? I think
Yes.
you,
Oh, am I skipping?
I think you skipped the discussion on the interpretive plan for the CCC camp.
I did, yes, good call, yes. So regarding that, we had sent a note to Matt, I think his last name was Volamano or something like that.
Oh, my God. Little update, so.
Something Italian. And we just thanked him and said that there's no corrections or edits for the interpretive plan. And right before this meeting, I received an email from Ellen. Actually read it very thoroughly, so I'll just read it now. So it says, good morning. Very excited to share that DCR has a draft resource management plan for the Blackstone complex, which includes Upton State Forest. Since the Historical Commission has been involved in preservation efforts for the CCC camp and the National Historic Register process, would you please share this with the commission members? If you have any thoughts, most especially about the historic resources at the camp and within the forest, please share them with DCR. The comment period ends on October 31st. If you have any questions, please let me know, and the link will bring you to the draft. So she has a draft to this Blackstone RMPS, and I did go to that website, and it did look like they had the Upton State Forest listed on the website, but it was very minimal. It didn't have much on there, but that's all she said. So
Yeah, I read your email, suggested that some little bit about the camp was included in the Blackstone Park or Blackstone Corridors plan.
okay,
It's rather vague, but,
yeah, okay,
but the response period hasn't closed yet, got another month.
another month, yeah, yep,
I know, Bill Taylor sent an email to
yeah,
the appropriate parties, Matt and whoever was on that email trail. With, fairly, it's extensive, but an interesting email with some suggestions about use of the park.
right,
He sent that about a week ago or less.
yeah, I remember that now that you're mentioning.
So I think it's great that we have two people like Ellen and Bill that are aware of that park and looking for its future.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay. So that's all I had for that one. Unless anybody else has any comments about that.
No.
Okay. Should we leave this on the agenda or should we take it off? Okay, I'll take it off for next time, just so we can trim down the list a little bit here. So remove. Okay. So skipping down here a little bit. Okay, yeah, so we had a meeting with the Mendon Historical Commission regarding creating the National Historic District. I thought it was a very fruitful meeting. We covered a lot of ground. They kind of really laid out what the process that they went through to create the historic district in Mendon. And they also told us a bunch of pitfalls that they encountered during the process. I think one of the main things was just kind of spreading the idea out, especially to the folks who will actually be within the district and kind of getting their approval beforehand before it comes to town hall, so they don't speak out against it during town hall. And they're also talking about limiting the size of the district, because you can limit the size to a pretty small area, which you can limit it so much that you don't even impact homeowners. We could just limit it to the Holy Angels Church, Congregational Church, and the Racine Building, so no homeowners aren't impacted. And then you have your historic district set up, and most people wouldn't protest about that. And then you can kind of grow it once it's established. So that might be
Good idea.
one approach to go with. And we had luckily we recorded that meeting, so I in the future will probably go and take a look at it to refresh my memory about what we had discussed and how we want to go about pursuing that. So that's just kind of a recap. Did you have any thoughts about that and additional thoughts on it?
I think their biggest focus was on the sales effort. They said the sales effort was everything. Getting the word out to people that were contemplating it, getting feedback on what people think, what they would want, what they wouldn't want. And I think they said they did that for a number of years before they implemented or went ahead with the warrant article for vote.
And with that being said, I wonder would it be advantageous to write up a flyer about this for the Heritage Day, so we could start spreading the word around, or is that too soon? I don't know. And I don't know what we'd say exactly, but. Cause I could just put something together and just pass it out, I guess.
Hey, Craig, question for you.
Yes, Patrick.
Do we have a template that exists? Like, do the Mendon folks have something that they used in the past for that?
That's a good question. I'm sure they use something, but I don't know what they would have used. I think she said something about them having
On
a
a call.
newspaper article, and they said they had some sort of trolley going around showing people what the district would be, so you could take a little tour on a trolley, actually. And I think there was a couple other tactics that they used, but I'm forgetting the other ones, but I could reach out to them and ask, why don't I reach out to them, ask if they had like some sort of pamphlet that we might be able to.
Because what I was thinking was, if you're gonna go out with some sort of, single page newsletter, it's really, the question comes back to, what are the reasons why we would want a historic district commission? That people would have to seek approval of make changes to the house. I mean, what would we want? How would you structure it? How would you put it together before we go out and talk to anyone? We need to know what we're doing ourselves.
Yeah.
One of the challenges that Mendon faced, and I think Hopkinton faced, was they had to create a new commission.
Right.
Almost like part of the building department.
Right.
So you live in the historic district, you want to make a change to your house, you want to change your windows or your shutters, or you want to repaint the house, you got to come before the historic district commission for approval. So now you're talking, where do you find the people, the staff, the historical district commission to do that? And I guess what they said is that half the people on their historical commission are on the historic district commission, and they're contemplating merging the two commissions but they have to meet separately. So when you're gonna meet for your monthly meeting for the historical commission, you have to do that under the agenda of the historical commission. Yeah, you have to have a meeting to meet under the historical district commission to make those decisions. And I think that's, and maybe wrong, Craig, I think that was state law. They have to be separated. They can have the same people, but you have to state what you're meeting for.
Okay.
And, to get enough people to staff this and to find people to staff. One of the things they got on their historical district commission, they got an architect, I think they got a builder, and I think they got a realtor.
Right.
So they got the three components of change within a town on the board. And that could be a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
My recollection was what they, and I can't remember the gal's name, was with Dan. It was all about the sales pitch and pushing the message for quite a long time, meeting with the people, having discussions both ways on what do you want out of a historical district to protect the future of Upton. I think we have an opportunity right now with all of the building that's going on, with all these people coming in, think they're gonna buy a house, fix it up and rent it out and change it and don't care what we're doing. This is an opportunity right now where all of these historical houses are at risk.
Yeah.
For someone to come in and say, well, the building inspector told me I should tear it down. Well, I mean, that just blows my mind. It was like my neighbor put a addition on his house because the building inspector told him to do it, even though it was in the keep out of the zoning of a house lot. He didn't go to the zoning board. He went to the building inspector who said, yes, you can do this, but why don't you put a roof on it, close it all in, and now it's breaking the rules. That was Patrick Roach, who's no longer Jerry. And I don't know what the new guy's name, I don't know what his title is. I always call Patrick Roach the building inspector, but I think he got the new title years ago. And that's whoever has replaced him, I have not met. Steve
Yeah.
Johnson was on the road building inspector. He's the one that went house to house for all the inspections. I don't know what the guy who sits in the office right next to us, what his title is. Building department or something.
That's his office right here.
This whole upstairs, except for this room, is all the building.
Really? Oh,
And Amy left it with the Lobershire.
right.
So I don't know as we know what we can do, what we want to do and how to do it before we go promote it to townspeople. And I don't know how to get there.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's that I feel like it's hard to, how do we get the momentum to actually move this forward? I don't know. Could also take the approach if we just make it so small and it doesn't impact any of the homeowners that most people would be likely to vote for, because it wouldn't impact them. You know, if we just did these three buildings that aren't owned by homeowners, they would probably likely pass it through. And then once we have it established, then we could grow it, I guess.
Yeah, but how upset are people gonna be when you come back 2 years later and say, now I want to expand it to all of Main Street? And, you pull the fast one. I don't know if that's the right approach. I like your thinking, but it would be one thing to take most of Main Street here and get that passed and then say, we can add on to that. We can add houses on Pleasant Street, Mendon Street that are historic homes, Elm Street. That's the thing that bugs me the most is why does it have to be a contiguous area here on Main Street when you've got historic homes on all the side streets in town that date to the 1700s? As far as I'm concerned, that should be part of the historic district in Upton. Anything that's a home that was built before the Civil War or something should be included, but the work hasn't been done to list those with the state on maps.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it just,
Yeah, I don't think it should be contiguous, but I guess that's what the state requests or something.
It's time to break the state rules, do something on our own. So that's where I'm coming from, is I don't think we understand enough ourselves to say we're gonna put forth a warrant article to get the town to approve it. And I'm struggling with, why does it have to be just the homes that were put in the historic district, the work that was done back in the 90s by Barbara Burke and whoever else? And why can't it include the other historic homes? Like the
Yeah,
house
I
on
mean,
Elm Street?
I don't think it, I don't think it necessarily shouldn't include the other homes. I think we need to, I mean, we need to do work on this, right? The nice thing about the stuff, the zones that we already have discussed is that we already have the documentation on those houses to justify it. But I don't think that means that there shouldn't be other houses included that are particularly old. We definitely, like you said, we definitely have those in town that are also equally or more old than the ones that are in the center of town, and they should also be preserved. Um, and I think we just need to do our homework more on both what the actual state requires and what we're hoping to get out of it. And we haven't been in a position or had the people or whatever to do that. So it probably needs a subcommittee to get together and work on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree, Catherine. I think certainly my concern that I'd like to see the historic district include other houses. That could be the add-on down the road once we get a warrant article approved and the existing districts into it with some sort of management and some sort of methodology. Like what came to mind is places like Elm Street that just put a steel roof on a 1750 cedar shingle roof house. It actually looks pretty good. I went by there a couple of weeks ago and
Does it?
the day that they were just finishing the roof, it actually looks pretty good. Does it look like the 1750 shingle roof? No. And it's blue.
it's blue.
It's blue. I mean, not a tan roof or something that looks like Cedar Shakes, but anyhow,
I
so
saw that they also moved the stone, what is that thing, the stone trough? They put that in their front yard. They moved it from across the street.
oh, I didn't see that.
I didn't see the roof, but I saw that.
That trough has been all around Upton, huh?
Yeah. Makes the rounds. It's not light either, I'd imagine. Okay. So should we move on to the next item?
Yes.
Anybody have any other comments? Okay, the next one is updates from the historical commission mailbox. I have to admit, I did not get an opportunity to check that, so I don't have any updates. And the door was locked before I came in, so I couldn't access that. Next item is updates from the Grange building. Do we have any updates? Except for, I know we have a bill issue.
We don't have anything good. Request for reimbursement from the state grant that almost killed me last year. The request for reimbursement was approved around July 8th or 9th, and to this date, we still do not have the check. Asked the state a week and a half ago to stop payment on the check, cut a new check, and call us so that either Ken Paulson or I could drive into Boston and grab the check, never mind the mail. I got an email this afternoon from the contractor, FRG Corp, asking when are we going to pay their bill? The invoice is dated June 28th or something. And right after that, I got an email from Ross Deckel, the representative from the MHC, who said, great news, the state has cut a new check probably faster than they've ever cut it. So he was anticipating on taking even longer than a week and a half to cut a new check. But he doesn't have the check yet. So we can't drive in and pick it up until he gets the check. So it's a complete horror show that we've had to make the contractor wait 3 months for payment on the invoice. I don't feel good about it at all. And I can't say as any member of the Grange has expressed any concern about this at all. It's like it's not a problem with somebody else's. And it's just very, very aggravating. The sales gal from Asphalt Engineering in Bellingham calls me faithfully every 2 weeks. And at the end of the conversation, she asked, well, can I call you in 2 more weeks? Absolutely, call me 2 more weeks. We have to go through and pave the parking lot. I said, we're not going to discuss it until we have the check and pay the bills and then see what's left. So I hope in the next 48 hours, the man gets the check, and either Thursday or Friday, Ken or I are driving to Boston to pick up that check, bring it back, and then trying to get their treasurer to pay the two bills that they owe, the contractor and the architect are both owed money. And then and only then can we schedule a meeting to talk about insulating the building and or paving the parking lot and or nothing. So that's where we're at. And I would like to ask this commission what all of your opinion is on insulating the building and or paving the parking lot. Just in round numbers, I would say there's going to be $8,000 to $10,000 remaining from the CPC money and the state grant. And all the money is from the state grant. The CPC money has all been spent. I have told the Grange from the beginning that from this board's perspective, I don't want to see any of that money end up in their bank account. I want to see it spent on the restoration of the property. We have quotes to insulate the building that would range from a high of 11,500 down to possibly about 8,000 if we take one or two little things out of it. We have quotes to pave the parking lot that range from a low of 19,000 to a high of 30,000, depending how much asphalt you want put down and how much area you want covered. And like I said, I think they're going to wind up with 8,000 to 10,000 left out of the project's money.
How much did you say the installation was?
It can be done for as low as around 8,000, 7,500, 8,500, or as high as 11,500. We haven't do everything they quoted.
I think the installation makes more sense and it's less of an expense. Because the installation will help to preserve the building in the future, I would imagine, and save on the heat. That would be my suggestion.
See, there's always the possibility of asking the lady who owns the dance studio, who is the one who owns the heating of the building.
Mm.
She pays the bill. She's the one who gets billed for heat and everything else, to contribute to the capital cost of insulating it, which could reduce that 8,000 to 11,000 down to something. More money to pave some or all of the parking lot, which would be on the Grange.
Yeah, I mean, that parking lot is awful. That's where my daughter takes dance lessons, so we're there every week. It does get cold inside, not as much as you'd think, but I'm sure that just means that the heat is cranked.
The building
sure
is
Dana
heated
would
to 50 degrees in off hours, which is probably 2/3 of the hours of the week. And it's heated to 62 degrees during dance days.
Okay.
And they're going through 1,320 gallons of oil a winter to heat it to 50 to 62 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think for the it's probably better to do the insulation than it is to do the parking lot, as much as I freaking hate that parking lot. Because it will extend the longevity of that building as a whole and the businesses who use it, in a way that the parking lot isn't like nobody's quitting dance because the parking lot sucks, but the dance company can go out of business or move the location, which would be bad for the Grange if it's too expensive to heat the building. So I think I come down on the insulation side.
So, you have any opinions?
So to the insulation,
All right, then I'll make a motion that we direct the Grange to use the remaining money to insulate the building and leave the parking lot discussion to them for fundraising or using money that they have in the bank. They may have enough to do it, but that's their decision, not ours. So motion to direct the Grange that the remaining money needs to be used for insulating the building.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 No,
All right,
motion passes.
That takes it off my shoulders, which is what I want. And I did say last month that, we create a large photo to be hung in this building of the Grange, of the Center Schoolhouse, call it the Grange. And ask Joe Layton if he pay for it out of beautification funds and for a place to hang it. I think Sandy said there's a place down on the lower floor where there's one or two pictures of the Grange building, the Center School building right now, old pictures, that would be the appropriate place to hang it. Be able to ask him that. Find someone to frame, produce a picture and frame it, which I don't think is too difficult. So I will try and remember to follow up on that over the next month.
And how did you want to pay for that? Were you saying that Joe would pay for it, or do we want to take it out of the historical commission funds or
We were gonna ask if Joe would pay for it out of beautification funds.
beautification? Okay. Do we need to make a motion on that or just go ahead and do it?
Now, let me get more details and
Okay.
execute it within a month. I've been busy with it.
Yeah. All right, so the next item on the agenda is Heritage Day. I'm planning on going there and sitting at the table and handing out flyers. I'm just gonna use the flyers that we had from last year, I guess. I think there's some concerning the cave in there. Possibly the historic district walk tour of Upton and West Upton. I got some bubbles for the kids and some glow in the dark bouncy balls. But I didn't have anything else really to pass out. I don't know if anyone else had any ideas about things we wanted to pass out or any other ideas about what we should
I
do.
think did you check that box?
I haven't checked it yet, but I
Okay.
should, maybe
I
I'll
think
check
the
it tonight
craft that
before
I
I leave.
did last year is still in there. Do you remember? You weren't here, so you
I
missed
didn't,
it.
yeah, I
but-
wasn't able to make the event last year, yeah.
Right. There was I did like I had like a craft, and I'm planning to come too, just so you know
Oh,
it's
okay.
not gonna just be you because I'm like that. I won't stay, like I'll probably like leave in the middle and like, get food and then come back to the table and you can leave and get food or whatever. Because it's like 8 to 2 or whatever it is. But last year I had a thing that was like a hat that you could decorate, like kids could decorate, and I had like flower stickers and stuff in there. So that stuff I think is all still in there. I'll try to remember to check on Friday before they close at noon, which is always the hard part. To check and see what's still in the box and if I need to print any more. But there should still be a bunch of those that kids can do at our table, which I realize is not meant for the adults, but it did have a bunch of people interact with our table last year, to decorate their own hat, which is, well, their own small paper that has a drawing of a hat on it, which, we talked about the hat factory and whatever. So I don't remember if there was anything else in there. I remember that the bouncy balls and the bubbles, there were still some of them in there.
Okay.
But I pretty much just like packed it up from last year when it was done and just shoved it in the filing cabinet. So it should be
Right.
all there, whatever we have left from last year.
Okay.
And I
sounds
think,
good.
and they were like, I had like crayons and stuff too, so that like kids could decorate their hat. So
Okay.
but yeah, I'll do it with you.
Catherine, did you have any ideas of anything else we would want to pass out in the public or anything like that, or?
I mean, I always have lots of ideas, but I haven't had time to make any of them yet.
Right.
I have
Yeah,
ideas
that
for
was
next
time, right?
year is the
Okay.
thing. Unfortunately,
So-
the day before is our first Girl Scout meeting, so I don't have any bandwidth to like do anything last minute right now, but because
Sure, yeah.
I've got
Okay, yeah.
all hands on
So,
deck for that.
yeah,
But yeah,
I guess
no, I
it's,
do
it's
think it would be
mostly, I think
possible to have
it's,
cool stuff.
yeah, it's mostly just having a face there to answer any questions that people, swing by and want to talk about the historical commissioner.
What days are it?
Saturday, this coming Saturday.
This Saturday.
Number 20.
28th, yep.
Thank you. I can't remember what day it is.
So, yep, so that should be good. The next item on the, oh,
Yeah.
what do
Well,
I,
the Angels and Milton Rustine.
oh, skip it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I read that, so I was gonna say that.
Yeah, okay, so painting for Holy Angels and Milton Racine, I didn't have any updates, Ed and I had, spoken to the select board and presented the colors for Milton Racine and Holy Angels Church, they didn't have any objections, they seemed to like the colors, Ed, talked extensively about the process, did you want to give an update, Ed, about what
No,
they said, or?
Not especially. We presented the color proposals that this board had approved last month to the selectmen, and after some discussion, they were all fine with it. There was no real pushback anyway during the discussion. They voted and approved and managed unanimously and sent them off to Dennis at the DPW. I did stop into Dennis's office last Wednesday in anticipation of our monthly meeting. And Dennis said he was 24 hours away from receiving 3 quotes from
Oh.
painters.
Oh, that's exciting.
He didn't go out to bid. He used the allowed quoting process, I guess, to get 3 quotes. And I think he broke it up into 2 portions. One is someone to clean the buildings and the other is someone to scrape and paint the buildings. So he expected quotes last Thursday. I have not talked to him since. I didn't get a chance to go back and see if he got the quotes, pick somebody, if somebody actually quoted, so.
Okay. Well, that's good. Things are moving along.
But he still anticipates these being done this fall, so
Really?
I think he's an optimist, but time is running out to paint.
Yeah, the snow's gonna be flying
It
soon.
might get 2 months if the weather holds, who knows? He did not quote the paint that we used on the Grange. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. I wasn't hung up on it, just told the guy did a good job.
Yeah.
And my discussions with Kent Paulson about the right-hand storm window replacement. I did tell the commission last month's meeting, I've got the minutes right here, that he had quoted $1,650 with a 50% deposit. I told him the 50% deposit is not possible, so that he should buy the material and within a day or two do the job and then give us a bill to be the same as 50% up front. So he said he's okay with that. And that he probably will wait for the painting, which I said would make more sense, especially because of the trim color. We certainly don't want to take the other storm windows off. But it's going to be almost impossible to paint the white behind the storm window, the trim color with a storm window.
Yeah,
So if we get at least one fully painted properly, maybe the best we'll get out.
sounds good.
And by, next spring, you'll have a project to completely replace that building anyways.
Right. Yeah, hopefully that doesn't.
So that's all I've got is that quotes should be in and he should have selected somebody by now and told them they've got the job and hopefully we'll see somebody soon, but maybe in the next couple of days I can get over there and get an affirmative update and email it out to everyone on what's going on.
Okay. Great, sounds good, good progress there. The next item is a patriotic banner request. Tom Bear had reached out to us to ask if we could, I guess we used to have patriotic banners on the town hall and then Open Racine, and he wanted to see if we could get them put back up. But seems like once they restored the town hall, they lost the banner somehow. Tom was supposed to look in the attic at the Milton Racine and see if he saw any, but I don't think he ever did, because he never got back to us. So
Was he
we were
talking
gonna,
like bunting? Was it
Yeah.
like the like swaggy things?
yeah, those round ones, I think.
Semicircular.
Yeah, yeah, it's called bunting. I mean, like,
Bunting.
if he can't find it and he wants it and the town is okay with it, it's not expensive. Like you can buy bunting. You just you can
Okay.
like buy it off of Amazon.
Well, I didn't
So-
see anywhere in his email on what event he wanted it for, what time period he wanted it for. It was unclear. I mean, does he want to put this up in May and have them up all summer on these buildings? Does he want to put it up for Heritage Day? Do you have any sense of what?
No, he kind
I
of
mean-
dropped the ball. He didn't really say.
'Cause
I
my
feel like if he's
thoughts are-
asking now, he probably wanted it for Heritage Day. Like that would, those things would logically connect, but I don't know if that's true. But I can
My thoughts-
understand why he would want that.
My thoughts on the subject are, I think the last time we had bunting put up on the two buildings, those were the two buildings the town owned. The town now owns Holy Angels and the town now owns a new senior center library. All within walking distance of each other, so why would we put up bunting on the two rather than on the four,
Right.
or three, or four?
And who puts it up? The DPW?
Another excellent question.
Mhm.
I think so, but I don't know.
Yeah, because that
Yeah,
might.
I mean, I
done
would
it in the
imagine it's
past.
whoever put it up, put like lights on the Christmas tree back in the day. You know what I mean? If it's something that needs like a ladder truck, they probably would have roped in the fire department or something. But
Yeah.
but I don't know when the
Fire
last time they
department?
put it up.
And ladder trucks.
Yeah, yeah, because that's probably tricky to get up there, I'd imagine. Yeah. So actually, yeah, so that, I'm sure I'll see Tom on Saturday, so maybe I'll talk to him about it and ask him who puts it up and when he wants it. And, where he wants to get it from. And what funding. I mean, I think we could probably use the historical commission funds for that, something.
It certainly hasn't, it would be an issue, yeah.
Okay, I'll ask him those questions this Saturday and get back to you guys for the next.
Yeah, so I've got, when should we put it up? Who would put it up? Should we add the new library at Holy Angels? And you're gonna ask Craig, get more out of his brain on what he's thinking, because I would think if you're gonna put it up, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to put it up for Heritage Day. It would be, put it up for the summer, or
Yeah,
Oh yeah, put it up for the whole summer.
put it up before Memorial Day and take it down after Heritage Day or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that will probably be the life you'll get out of it anyways. To throw it
Yeah,
away.
I agree. If we're gonna have it up, we may as well have it up for both Memorial Day, where we have like the big event, and then like 4th of July and Labor Day, and you may as well just make it go all the way to Heritage Day and then pack it away for the winter.
Right. Can we store it at your house, Catherine?
Sure. I mean, like I've got some bunting knocking around that I meant to put up on my house back in May and didn't. So you can put it with the other bunting.
All right, I'll try to get through these other ones quickly because I know it's getting late. So we had a discussion regarding the tip and the light posts. Ed and I met with, Joe Layden and Mike Antonellis to discuss, upgrading the light posts for this tip project that they're putting in there. And I think I was a little vague on the conclusion that we drew from that meeting, but I think they said that they're always gonna try to upgrade the lightning to the black light posts like they have in Hopkinton going forward. Was that not what you got out of it? I was a little vague.
Well, I think the bigger picture, in case people aren't aware, because I certainly wasn't aware before we talked to Joe, is the state is going to refurbish Route 140 from Grafton to Milford over the next 3 years. And part of the renovations will be the construction of a roundabout in front of the town hall. I guess that's already pretty much baked into the plan. I don't think the plans have been finalized and voted on and approved, but there'll be a roundabout. But what the state will not provide is any historic elements. They won't pay for it. They won't install it. And we looked at some pictures of downtown Millbury, I guess has recently restored their downtown, the state's, paved the roads or whatever. But they installed the antique black historic lighting for streetlights at sidewalks. I suggested what would look nice is the brick element that's added to sidewalks and crosswalks. And Joe said the state won't pay for those, so if you want to do it, we'd have to raise the money to do it in some fashion. The town would have to raise the money. Otherwise, you get a sterile, they're going to pave the road, they're going to put in sidewalks, and they're going to walk away. They're not going to plant trees. They're not going to plant any shrubbery. And what you're going to have in front of the Thompson block. Now, that's the building to the right of Holy Angels Church, diagonally across from the town hall. You're going to have, I think, 28 feet wide sidewalk, concrete, the way the roundabout and everything's designed. So you're going to have a ton of just gray concrete. So I think he suggested we have the opportunity to weigh in, propose some historical features and maybe some landscaping. And then the challenge would be for, now he didn't say this, but I will, for him to figure out with us how we raise the money, because you might have to raise $50,000 or $75,000 just for an architect to put this on a piece of paper, which the state requires. The state would not allow us to come in and say, we're going to do this, this, and this without spending, 50 or 100 grand for some architect to design it and put it on drawings. And so I guess that's our thoughts, but then again, would you want to drive through Upton with, stainless steel or aluminum lighting with no landscaping, with no brickwork or no crosswalks that look anything more like you see in the city? And I suggested, just as a very huge stretch, that if we were to do this, and we were to have to pay an architect to design this, that we should contemplate designing something from 33 Milford Street, everybody knows where that is now, or the BFW, all the way to the other end of West Upton, that could be broken into segments as money and time allowed to install historic features. So that it wouldn't be just, let's do something for, 100 yards in front of the town hall. Let's do something that maybe 50 years from now reflects all of Main Street of Upton.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That could be taken into 3 or 4 or 5 projects. But I guess the state's going to come through and pave all the 140 over the next 3 years from Grafton. They've already, I discovered, trying to get to a doctor's appointment yesterday morning in Milford. I couldn't get there. I got caught for 35 minutes in Hopedale trying to drive down Route 16 because they are tearing that up right now,
Really?
paving it. Yeah.
Wow. So,
No notice, no signs, no nothing. You just got there and you couldn't turn around and you couldn't get through.
yeah, I mean, that's the only road to get there. And there's no other roads really.
So my
Where does
take
it
was,
start right now?
Where does the construction start?
is the construction staff?
No, where, you're asking where in Hopedale is it?
Yeah, where in Hopedale or where in Milford on
It's,
140?
it's from the Mendon town line after the drive-in to the Milford town line at the hospital.
Okay.
Oh, yes, I saw that the other day, yeah.
So they're doing the whole 1.5 miles of Hopedale.
So regarding the architect, who would we reach out to, or do we reach out to Mike Antonellis to ask for an architect suggestion?
No, I think we have to go back to Joe and say the commission wants to move ahead with figuring out funding and hiring an architect to develop a plan that incorporates historic features into our Route 140 through our town.
Okay.
Do we want to have an idea? Do we want to make a subcommittee to have an idea to propose of like, we want, I'm thinking specifically in front of the Thompson building, not necessarily the overall staged historic, which I think is a good idea. I just don't have ideas for all of that land. But do we want to go with them saying, oh, we'd like, some green space in where the like island is right now, or we'd like bushes, or we'd like whatever we think, a flower bed, whatever we think. Do we want to have people come up with a plan for that before we like go to Joe, or do we want to just go to Joe directly?
My sense is if we all agree, we should go to Joe and say the historical commission agrees that we want to move forward with developing historic scenic route through Upton, coupled with the state tip project to redo the road. And that if that means
Okay.
we gotta go find an architect now to help us, I don't think we need to come up with design ideas. We need to get an architect to help us come up with design ideas and develop something.
Okay, did you want to make a motion for that?
I think I just did.
Oh, okay, I'll
What I just said
second.
is a motion.
Okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Patrick, you're on mute again.
Ugh, yes, I as well.
Okay, great. Okay, so the motion carries unanimously.
I should say, I probably should have said before, that keep in mind that everything we just said costs money.
Probably a lot of money.
And what you add between cost money is the word tax. So nothing is free, but the state isn't gonna pay for it. The
Okay.
state will pay for paving, sidewalk, concrete, curbing, et cetera, but they're not gonna pay for landscaping. They're not gonna pay for, I don't know if they pay for lighting. What they don't pay for is historic lighting.
Hmm.
So there may be an
We
element
don't
between.
necessarily even need them to pay for like plantings. We just need them to not pave it over, right? Because the thing with the tip project is you're not allowed to dig up anything that they've done for 5 years. So we need them, if we want to like plant something there or change it in some way, we need them to not do something. If they
Yes,
if they
what we,
concrete over that whole part, then we can't like, it's not even ours. It's a state route, so we can't change it without approval anyway.
yeah, your point is 100% valid. What we would propose to Joe is to find funding and come up with a design firm, get the town to vote on funding the design firm and go ahead with designing it so that that would be submitted to the state to be incorporated into their plan so that we would not be tearing up anything. Because you can't, you're right. So if this is gonna happen 2 years from now in Upton, I would say we don't have a lot of time to develop a plan, submit to the state and have the state agree to incorporate it into their design.
Yeah, yeah, because I think Joe was saying that they're at
Yeah,
75% or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
they've been taken forever. They took forever to get from like to 25%, because I remember when this was being talked about initially. Um, and it was its own brouhaha about the roundabout and whatever. Um, so I mean, this was a thing. This has been an ongoing conversation, but then they took forever to get to 25% and then to start socializing that 25%. So they're already sort of like behind the eight ball now that they've actually started some amount of construction. I'm sure somewhere there's programmed a schedule on how quickly they're planning to get to us, whether they stick to it or not. And I agree. I think it behooves us to go as quickly as we can if there's something we want to change about it.
Okay, yeah, I think that's good. So we'll write that email to Joe and get the ball rolling on that. Okay, I'll keep moving on here. So the next item on the agenda is the Dodson Flinker reply. So that is in regards to Mike Antonellis reaching out to them to design West Upton, similar to what we did for downtown Upton. So I think the Dodson and Flinker is gonna create another report that's similar to the report that they created for downtown Upton here. I'm not crazy about the EDC kind of heading that because I feel like it's kind of a, they're biased because they want to, they have an agenda to improve the economic development of the town. I'd like to see a separate committee, kind of spearheading that redevelopment of West Upton so that it incorporates heads of committees from a more diverse group of folks from town rather than just economic development folks. I'd actually emailed that to them and expressed my concern about that, but I think I had forwarded the historical commission this Dawson Flinker reply to Mike Antonello. So I might not have. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but if I didn't, did I not do that? It was
1 month ago.
a month ago. Yeah, it might have been a while ago that I did that, but
What is the Dodson Flinker? That is a economic development plan for West Upton?
they're a company that's out in Western Mass, and they we had this like big thing. I don't know. Catherine was involved.
They did,
with it
so they
pretty-
did the visioning. I don't know if you were involved in town stuff then, but they did the visioning about what Upton Center should look like. And this was before the library passed, when we were still talking about like where a new library would go, and trying to talk about like what drum up support for that, but also what could be done with Holy Angels and what we want the downtown to look like, plus or minus whatever's in our actual control, or what kind of things we need in our downtown. So it was a broad, like it was a series of meetings that involved a pretty broad cross section of town, relatively speaking. It's town stuff. And it was a series of meetings where people like picked out what design elements they liked, and then everything was then put into this visioning document that then informed like EDC projects and the design standards that we came up with as part of the RFP for committee and stuff like that. So that fed into like how the library looks and things like that as well. And now they're trying to do a visioning for development in West Upton. That's my basic understanding, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
correct. Yeah, they're
So
pretty much doing the same thing for West Upton, I guess. And I had just expressed my concern to the EDC that, we should be careful about not advocating for destruction of all those historic buildings in West Upton. We have the church there, we have another church there. We have all those Milton Erskine buildings, the hat factory, all those things. So I would hate to put those in jeopardy because it would really destroy the character of Upton. So I had emailed that to Mike Antonellis. Whether that holds any weight, I don't know, but
yeah,
I'll
I
keep
mean,
my pulse on it, my finger on the pulse of that as we go forward.
I don't know that you could easily either the Methodist Church or not the Methodist, Unitarian Church, whoever church it was, I don't even remember now. Unitarian Church, I think. And then the two Knowlton buildings that are now apartment buildings, and then of course the hat factory itself. Like none of those things are really. Sonia owns the church. That's the only one I would think could be in a vulnerable state, just because
Yeah.
she's older. But the two Knowlton houses are apartment buildings. As far as I know, they're not in a particularly vulnerable state. And the Millhouse Apartments is Millhouse Apartments. I don't think anybody's going to be tearing that down anytime soon, much less it's also on the National Register. But I think it definitely behooves us to have a historic district.
Yeah.
Because those would definitely
Right.
be in it, right? Like the two big Knowlton houses and the Knowlton factory and the church right there are probably the only really important historic buildings left down there. There's some other buildings that are also historic that I would include, but those are the heavy hitters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'd hate to see those get put into jeopardy.
Oh, and also the yellow one. That was the Knowlton, the building. I don't remember if he built that for his daughter or if it was already there, but that's also a Knowlton building. The yellow one on the corner, the like Second
Yeah.
Empire one.
Yep. Yep. So. Yep. So I'll keep my pulse on that with the EDC, and I'll update you guys as we go forward. I
If-
just
If
want to
they
make
do
sure.
visioning again, I mean, if it's a process similar to the one that was done in the center of town, though, it should be pretty like open, and we can absolutely be part of it. Like it shouldn't
Yeah.
be a closed door EDC thing.
That's
So-
a good point, Catherine. I should mention that to them because I think that they are kind of heading towards more of a closed door thing where, we should replicate the same process that we had before where it's open to the community so everyone can contribute their ideas to it.
Yeah,
I'll
I mean, I
mention
don't
that.
think there's any reason to if you're essentially doing the same thing, I don't think there's any reason to keep it just in the EDC. And I mean, I know that Meehan has bought at least a couple of those parcels, right? Remember that was the
Yes.
thing, like the
He bought the post
um,
office.
post office and stuff. So, like on some level, I'm sure that's part of what's driving this, but it's not like he owns the whole thing, and you have to worry he's going to build a mall there either.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like it's
that's what concerns me because I could see somebody like Lobosar just going in and buying a whole bunch of buildings and just knocking them down. There's nothing to stop them from knocking them down and putting up.
there's nothing legally to stop him from knocking them down, but they're also not like to my knowledge up for sale right now either. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and it's not like something like the Thompson property, which is awkward, not necessarily making you as much money as the property could, but also like a really annoying place to build something because of where it sits relative to the water and like the sort of grade there and how narrow it is. I don't think that the possible exception of that church, just because Sonia's getting on in age and she's the one who runs the art museum that's in it, I don't think that any of those buildings are sort of like at risk in the same way. Um, because the apartments are full and they make money and people like money and they don't necessarily need to sell them.
Yeah.
But that I don't know. That's my 2 cents. But
Okay.
it's still a thing that we should explore getting in a district, right? Like that's why
Yeah.
people have districts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
And we now have evidence of two people buying property in town and finding the way around all, take out, all let a ceiling fall in and then have the building inspector say, we got to tear it down.
Yeah.
And no discussion with anybody. It's, oh, yeah, now it's a mess.
Right. Yeah, that's an effective way to go about it. So, okay. Well, I'll keep moving on just so we can wrap up this meeting. I don't want people to stay too late. So, Patrick, social media updates. Do we have any updates there?
Nothing to report, boss. Things are very
Okay.
quiet on the Western Front, minus, of course, the rising fun of AI. There's a fun new app that's now out there where you can actually put in, so for example, if I wanted to take the Knowlton Racine building and create it out of Legos, we have the ability to do that now.
Cool. That's interesting.
Always an exciting, fun thing to do.
Huh.
You could even take the Church of Holy Angels and literally make it as it's like out of, say, chocolate and candy.
That's pretty cool.
So
Hey Patrick, I have
Yes,
every
boss.
once in a while I think of a question like that I would want to post on like on our feed to ask for like feedback, not just like what's the coolest thing you found in your yard, like coolest old thing you found in your yard, like historic stuff, because I found like pipes, like the 17th and 18th century equivalent of cigarette butts, but there were these really disposable clay pipes in my yard. And so I was curious, like, what's the coolest, like, old thing you found in your yard? Or like questions like that. Is it okay? Should I just post them myself? Do you want me to send you something to post? Do you want to be part of that or should I just do it and not be annoying? Let me know
Oh,
what
never,
your preference is.
never annoying. I would just do it.
Okay. I
Like,
didn't, it's your job and I didn't want to like circumvent you just because I have like the ability to get in there.
oh, not at all. I don't feel circumvented. I mean, once we get through this month of September, then yeah, it's always hectic as we're like getting adjusted to, we're coming out of September, and so again, absolutely, I don't feel circumvented. I mean, more the merrier.
Idea, Catherine, that's fun.
And I said last month I would send Patrick some pictures and text on the Grange restoration he can post on the Facebook site as well as the Upton Mothers website. So I will try and get that done in the next couple of days as well, Patrick.
Cool.
Excellent.
And Patrick, I'll take some pictures when I'm at Heritage Day. We could post some Heritage Day pictures too.
Awesome.
Maybe remind myself to do that. Okay, Donna, did you have any updates concerning the 300th anniversary at all? No updates?
I haven't mentioned anything either, so,
Okay.
other than the floats, I think they should have mentioned.
Oh, yes, we had mentioned that last meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. We had, the next item is the booth at Heritage Day. I think we already discussed that, so we'll skip that. And then any topics not originally anticipated? I don't know, Russ, did you have anything?
No.
No. Donna, did you have any topics? Ed?
The only thought that comes to mind was the email from, was it from Joe or Mike Antonellis 3 or 4 weeks ago, that the property at the corner of Mechanic and 140, the owners have passed. The property is up for sale, 22 acres plus a historic building. I think it's on the, what I would call the old Post Road loop off of 140 and West Upton going towards Grafton. Talked about this briefly.
Oh, this place,
Oh,
it's up on the hill, the one up on the hill.
I haven't seen it, so I couldn't tell
They
you.
don't have a street ad, is it
is that the one you're
West
relative?
Main Street or Main Street?
Well, he had made, the comment he made was it would be, I guess the comment, I think Joe sent it, but it came from Brett Simons to Joe.
Right.
Joe forwarded to us that just a comment, it would make a great property for a historic museum, historic society museum. What he didn't say was how he planned to buy it, why we needed it. And I know you shot back, Craig, with, are you saying the Historic Society is going to be moved out of the Milton Ristine building? And the answer was no, I'm not saying that. So we kind of dropped it, but I thought it was an interesting comment. I think it was 22 acres and it's a historic, I don't know what the house is. And no, I don't remember I remember it was the corner of Mechanic and 140, but I don't think it's on the corner of Mechanic and 140.
No,
I think somebody said it's right up the street on the old 140, the old loop that goes off
Oh,
there.
I know. It's Nancy Beatty's house.
Yes, Nancy Beatty. I think that's it.
Yeah,
Were you saying that was one of your relatives that lived there?
yeah.
Okay. So that's,
Great grandfather.
okay, so that's for sale.
Yeah,
So-
Nancy passed away and his son was living there.
Oh, okay.
No proposal on funding to attempt to buy it.
No, I would imagine it would
It's a big
be.
house, big barn.
It came from one of our selectmen. I thought it was quite an interesting comment.
I mean, it'd probably be probably close to $1 million to purchase all that land.
22 acres,
A lot more.
never mind a building on it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what the historical society would do with all that land, but have cows, I don't know.
They got that much money in their bank.
Yeah. Right, I think they got maybe 70K, I don't think that's gonna cover.
I just thought I'd, let everybody know that we got that. And I think the email was sent to the Historic Commission, but maybe it wasn't, I don't know.
Okay. All right, Catherine, did you have anything else to bring up?
I was just gonna say that Brett Simons was welcome to buy it for the Historic Society.
That'd be nice.
My thoughts exactly.
Early Christmas present. Patrick, did you have any comments? Thing to bring up? How's the baby?
Good. No, baby will be 7 months next week.
Really?
But
Wow, that happened
yeah.
fast.
oh, time flies. Time
Yeah.
flies. My other one is 3. So future Uptonians are feeling good.
Great, fantastic.
Sounds good. Okay, well,
Next meeting, October 16th, you said?
yes, 7 PM.
Put that on your calendar, Russ, October 16th.
So 16th.
Okay.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
All right.
Adjourned at 8:30, I already had that, 8:30.
Perfect. Great. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining.